Can you hear me? Hello. Yay. Okay, good. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to be together. Just seeing you come in, just so I can see who's here. Welcome. If any of you are new to my live session, my name is Carrie, and I'm a devotional singer, and I like to use music as a form of meditation, chanting and mantras. And my background is in comparative religion, studying mysticism from the world, around the world, and so I like to weave that into whatever I do. Hang on one sec. I don't want this to block my face, but I want you to be able to hear me. So today, it's great to be with you too. Oh, hi, Kelly. So today, I originally planned to do, I call it a sacred sound immersion, and I felt like in the last few live sessions I had talked a lot, and I wanted to leave more time to do music, and I'm going to do that today. I've had a slight change of focus because I had a really difficult week. I think any of you who are in my circle know, and if you don't, I lost a very beloved person to me this week. One of my longtime musical collaborators who I played with for many years, 9 years, doing live events and concerts, was tragically killed in a bicycle accident on Wednesday. And it's just heartbreaking. And so I've been going through what anyone goes through in a grief process, and it's been a bit shocking. So I'm coming to you from the land of the raw heart. I'm totally like vulnerable, like a big open, it's like, feels like a cannonball was sort of shot through my life, my heart. And so I'm just coming to you as I am, and I don't really know what's going to happen today. But I want to honor my friend. His name was Charlie Braun, and sing, and also to honor the festival of Navaratri, which is happening right now. This is a beautiful Hindu festival in honor of the divine feminine, and it goes on for 9 nights and 10 days, and we're in the midst of it now. So it feels very fitting to just call on that energy of the divine feminine and the divine mother, which is always comforting and nurturing, especially in any grief process. And so I'm coming to you with all of this today, and I really invite you to come to this session with whatever is in your heart. I really feel like there's just a heaviness, and there's a lot of grief that a lot of people are feeling. I actually, interestingly, in my circle this week, so many people are having challenges and difficulties, and family members who are dealing with illnesses, just so many different things. And so early in the week, I shared something about a resource, a book that I love about grief by Frances Weller. I have it. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. It's called The Wild Edge of Sorrow. This is a really beautiful book about grief. It's just really beautiful. And I had mentioned it in the circle. And then the next day, I released my song, Thy Will Be Done, which some of you have probably heard on the app. I released it just like the digital release into the world. And then the next day, my friend died. So it was just an interesting sequence of events. It was almost like some part of me was preparing for this incident to happen without realizing it. The Wild Edge of Sorrow. So I just want to say thank you so much to all of you who've expressed so much kindness and love and support. To me, this week, it means so much to me. And to me, it's such a beautiful expression of what a Sangha is for. We support one another, and we all take turns in this human journey, of going down into the depths and coming out into the light. And to be able to be in a community of practitioners, of people who are on the same path to support one another is really, really important. And that's why in the Buddhist tradition, the Buddha spoke about the three main pillars, which are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is the teacher, the Dharma is the teachings, the path, and the Sangha is the community. And the Sangha is really important. So I just want to say thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you. And I'm going to do my best. I have no idea if I'm going to be, how my emotional, what's going to happen when I start singing. And I'm going to sing a few of my friend Charlie's songs. So just giving you a little warning and disclaimer ahead of time that I have no idea. So proceed at your own risk with this session. So anyway, all of my love to you, and thank you for being here. It's so meaningful for me when we get to have this time on Sundays or on Mondays if you're reporting in from down under. But to have this time together is so precious. And when going through, a remembrance of the fragility of life, which we get these reminders, and then we somehow go back to sleep. But these reminders come, it's even more important and precious that we have this time together, because there's nothing more important than the cultivation of our hearts and remembering why we're here in a human body. What is the meaning and the purpose of our life? That's a question that each of us has to answer and inquire into for ourselves. But when we're together in a community, it really support one another on that journey. So thank you for being here with me. This means so much, and I really cherish all of you. So I'm going to begin with my invocation, which I always like to start with. An invocation is just a way of calling in the light, or calling in the love, which is always there. It's not like we're calling it in and it wasn't there before. It's just maybe we weren't aware of it. When our mind is always going out, we miss a lot of things. And that's why, in a way, the yogic path, whatever that path may look like for you, is really about returning, coming home, so that we can pay attention and see all of these things that are going on that we miss a lot of the time when we're externally focused. So an invocation is like acknowledging, we're in the presence of something sacred, and we're about to step into something together, an experience. We don't know what it is. I certainly don't. I just try to be open, and with the prayer that all of us may receive whatever we need right now. So the invocation is for that. And there are some prayers in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is an ancient vibrational language. You don't have to think about what it means or anything. You can just feel the vibration of the sounds. And connect with your intention for being here, why you're here. Just notice where you're at, what's happening for you, and then we'll go ahead. Thank you.
वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरां सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिग्धसुतीम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वर्यै नमः ॐ अमृतेश्वरी नमः अनन्तसंसार समुद्रतरं नौकायितभियं गुरुभक्तिदभ्यं वैराग्यसंरहांजतपूजनभियं नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यं नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यं नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यं नमो 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 नमो
Thank you. Do you know the famous story? It's a Buddhist story about Kisa Gotami. It's one of a very popular story in the Buddhist tradition about death. Kisa Gotami had a son, a young baby son who died. And obviously, she was devastated that her baby died. And she was holding this baby and she was asking everyone, please bring him back to life. She was crying her eyes out, please, please bring my baby back to life. And everyone said, I can't, we can't, we don't know what to say, we can't. And then somebody told her, oh, maybe you should go to see the Buddha. He might be able to help. So she went to the Buddha and she said, Buddha, Master, please help. My baby is dead and I need my baby to come back to life. And he said, okay, I'll help bring your baby back to life, but you need to just do one thing. You need to find me a mustard seed from a house, a household that hasn't been touched by death. So she said, okay. And she started going from house to house, hey, I need a mustard seed. Oh, yeah, we have mustard seeds. Okay, but has anybody died here? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody has. Close the door, go to the next house. Over and over again, she kept going to these houses and asking, do you have mustard seeds? Everybody had a mustard seed, but nobody had a house that hadn't been touched by death. So she went back to the Buddha and she explained what happened. And he taught her, the basic Buddhist teachings about life. And she realized that death is a part of life and that it's universal and that we all go through it. And she ended up renouncing and becoming a great, enlightened being, be a great spiritual practitioner. But death is the great equalizer, and it's a reminder that, we're really living in this mystery. We have no idea really what's going on here, how we got to be here in this body, and when this body will go. And it's a deep mystery that we don't understand. And, when we lose somebody that we love, especially, when there's a great shock like that with no preparation, it's very jarring. It's like, it like rips the sort of sense of reality that we have into shreds, and nothing really makes sense anymore for a moment. And then sometimes, well, a lot of the time we're able to come back around and metabolize that experience and move forward with a deeper meaning. But it's definitely, it points to, the mystery of this human life that we don't really understand. And in the Buddhist tradition, they speak about what's called precious human birth, which I probably talked about before. But the teaching of precious human birth basically says that this human birth we have is really rare. And we don't even realize how rare it is. And they say in the scriptures that it's as rare as a sea turtle who lives under the ocean that comes up for air once every 100 years and puts his head through a single ring floating in the ocean. I mean, obviously the likelihood of that is like almost impossible, that a turtle would come up once every 100 years and happen to get his head through this ring in the ocean. But the teaching of that is so profound because it's suggesting that this precious human life we have is just that. It is precious, and we don't often take the time to pause and realize that. If you think about the infinite millions and billions of life forms on this planet, it is, amazing to be born as a human being with the opportunity to inquire and to know ourselves, to develop, beautiful qualities like compassion, or to serve one another, or to love. This is a beautiful thing about being a human being. And we have the opportunity in this life, to inquire about who we are and to go beyond, our limited conception of who we are. Ultimately, we're not just this body or personality or identity. That's what every spiritual tradition tells us. We're so much more than that. And so when we have a precious human birth, it's precious because we have the chance to see what that is, to see what that means. That's profound. So, my friend Charlie, who I just mentioned before, my musical friend who died this week, we've been singing live together for many, many years. And when I first started doing kirtan and singing live in public, I had a hard time, partly because I just don't like being in front of people, which here I am, but it's not the most most comfortable thing for me. I've grown into it as I've learned to just recognize that we're all the same, really. So just be here and connect from the heart, But especially in the beginning, it was really difficult for me, and I didn't really have that much experience at all doing music in front of people, because it was something I just did in myself, in my little house, with my house plants. I joke about that, but it's actually true. They were my first audience. And so when I started looking to find people to play with me, I had a hard time, because most of the people that I found were musicians, and they were like looking for a gig or something like that, and they wanted to know, how much money will I make, and what is, just the typical thing, which is understandable for people who are making their living as a musician. But I really wanted to connect with other musicians and people who understood the practice of chanting and who resonated with it as a spiritual practice. And it took a really long time to find anyone really who resonated with that. And then I met Charlie, my friend Charlie. And I met him because I was invited to sing at a Buddhist retreat in Boston with a Lama who was visiting from Australia. And Charlie was the guitar player, and I was leading the kirtan. And I had never played with him before, but as soon as we played together that time, it was like something miraculous happened. It was this really beautiful retreat, and it was a Buddhist retreat, so people were, deeply contemplative and kind of in a very mindful space. But by the end of the kirtan, people were like hanging off of the rafters. It was so joyful. People were just dancing, and it was just such a beautiful thing that happened spontaneously and unexpectedly. And at that moment, I realized that my friend, well, he wasn't my friend at the time. I didn't know him then, but I realized that we had a amazing musical connection doing music live. He was also a kirtan singer. He loved kirtan, and he loved sacred music from different spiritual traditions. He would sing at a Jewish temple. He would sing at a Unitarian church. He just loved devotional music from different traditions. And so after that, he just said, I really want to play with you. I don't even care where the gig is or how much money it is or anything. I just want to play with you. And it meant more to me than I can possibly ever express, because he really believed in me and he believed in my music and he found so much joy in it. And every time we would play together, it was like we just, in a minute, we just dropped into this place and he was just right there next to me, you know, playing, and we just went somewhere every time. It was really amazing. I never had to look at him. You know, a lot of times when musicians are playing together, if there's a change of some kind or speed up or slow down or something, you have to kind of make connection with the other musicians, like, hey man, I'm gonna like speed up now or something. But with him, I never had to do that. It was like he just kind of knew where I was going, and that fostered such a sense of trust, and it was just created such an amazing musical connection. And so it's really sad to think that I'm never going to have the opportunity to play with him again. And of course, we haven't played together for the last year and a half because of the pandemic, you know. And so his death, it like brought back this all other life, sort of, you know. It's like since the pandemic started, I haven't done it. These are the only live events I've done. I haven't done anything in person, obviously. And so I guess I kind of boxed that up, thinking like it's just not happening right now. And then when I talked to my friend Charlie last week before he died. We talked about wanting to play together and how much we miss playing, and it all came back to me. And so it hit me really hard when I realized that's not going to happen again with him, you know. So it's just going to be a process to accept that and to embrace that and to feel that gratitude for everything that we share together, and the beauty of the gigs that we did. You know, all of the, you know, I do my solstice and equinox programs on here, and Charlie and I did maybe 20 or 30 of those in person. I used to do them here. I used to do them live. And it was like a really beautiful community thing. People would come and we would look forward to them 4 times a year. And he did them with me every quarter. You know, it's just a beautiful ritual to share. So anyway, I'm going to just pause on that for a minute and come back to it in a little bit, and sing something for him and sing something for all of us, for all those we have lost, and for a song of grieving, a song of sending those who have passed on to the light. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I just wanted to give a short, brief sharing with you about Navaratri, because I promised I would do that in my circle, and I don't want to not do that. There's so much to say about it. This is just going to be like the tiniest little taste of what it is. But I want to acknowledge it because I think it's important and it's beautiful. So as I mentioned at the beginning, Navaratri is a festival, a 9-night and 10-day festival in India, that honors the divine feminine, the Shakti, the power, the feminine power of creation. And there are actually 4 Navaratris that happen every year. This one is the most widely celebrated, the most well-known, and the most popular. And Shakti, you know, means feminine power or energy, or it means a lot of different things. But basically, the idea is that Shakti is that feminine power that is kind of manifest in all of creation. And a lot of spiritual traditions used to honor the divine feminine. There were many different goddess traditions. And if you look back in archaeology, 10, 20,000 years ago, there were carvings of the divine mother, of the goddess. So this is very ancient. And a lot of these traditions were wiped out through the patriarchy. A lot of the traditions of honoring and worshiping the feminine, you don't really find them anymore that much. So it's really wonderful and special that there are still these pockets and these festivals that go on that celebrate that feminine principle, which we really need more than ever in this world. Recognizing that the divine, whatever that means to you, you could call it the universal life force, you could call it love, you could call it space, God, whatever, is immanent in creation. It's not beyond, like in some other heaven. It's actually here on the earth. When we have that realization, then we treat our own body and our own earth with much more sacredness and respect, because we realize it is the body of the divine, it's not some place far away. So in the so what we call the Hindu tradition was originally called, and is still often called, Sanatana Dharma, which means the eternal way or the eternal path. And Sanatana Dharma is essentially like a very vast set of teachings, practices, philosophies, everything that are here to kind of help us find the right path of dharmic living and the path to self-actualization, to self-realization. And the beautiful thing is, in the Hindu tradition, there are as many different manifestations and forms of spirit or consciousness as you could imagine. It said actually that there's 333 million gods and goddesses. But there's said to be only one source. So the paths are many, but the source is one. You know, the rivers are many, but they go to the same ocean. So there are different emanations or different manifestations of this supreme consciousness, but it's just coming from one supreme source. An example that my teacher Amma often gives is if you have 100 pots of water, and there's water in 100 pots, when the sun is shining, you see 100 suns in the different pots, but really there's only one sun. There's one sun reflected in all the different pots. In the same way, there's one source, but many different manifestations of it. You can call it Shiva, you can call it Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, you could call it a million other things. Ganesh, you could call it, some people would call it Jesus, Buddha, people call it all different kinds of things. Whatever works with your constitution. So I think that's really important to recognize, because in Navaratri, it's sort of split up into 3 different sections. And on each 3 days, a different form of the goddess or the divine feminine, the divine mother, is honored. And it's good to remember that the root is the same. The supreme energy is the same, but the manifestations are different. The qualities are different. So just super briefly, Navaratri means 9 nights. Nava is 9, Ratri is night. And the more kind of spiritual symbolism of this festival or this time is that it kind of represents the spiritual journey in some ways. So for the first 3 nights of Navaratri, Durga, the goddess Durga, is honored, worshipped. Durga, or Kali, another form, is considered to be more of the fierce form of the feminine. She carries lots of weapons. The weapons represent, the tools that we need on our spiritual path, like discernment and things like that. Cut away all of our ego. So for those first 3 days, it represents that Durga, that we're doing the work of cleansing out the impurities in our heart. On the spiritual journey, it's hard work because it's not like most people don't just sit on a cushion and go into bliss. We're working through a lot of different stuff. And so as soon as we turn inward, there's we have to polish the mirror of the heart. That's what they say in the Sufi tradition. We're cleansing the mirror of our heart. And so Durga helps with that. She helps to cleanse out those, we can call them vasanas. Vasana in Sanskrit, it's like our inherited tendencies, the things, our habitual tendencies and habits and impressions, the things that kind of keep us stuck and that get in the way, our pride, our greed, our jealousy, our anger, all of those things that keep us attached to the sense of me and mine and I. So that's the first 3 nights. Then after that, we move into the phase that we're in starting today, Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the beautiful goddess of abundance and wealth, material and spiritual wealth. And so after we have symbolically, cleansed our heart of all of the impurities, then Lakshmi blesses us with virtues, beautiful virtues. So we've cleansed out all of that stuff that keeps us really stuck. And then we replace them, or we're blessed with goodness, goodness of heart, character, all of those things, values, and Lakshmi blesses us with that. And so then the last phase honors Saraswati, who is so beloved to me. She is the goddess of wisdom, knowledge, music, and the arts. And she bestows true knowledge to us, upon us. Once we've gone through all of these different stages in the process, then the light of true knowledge dawns, and Saraswati blesses us with that. And the final day of Navaratri is known as Vijayadashami, which is the victory day. And it essentially symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, or the victory of, truth and awakening over our small ego. And a lot of this festival, it's a lot to share about, but it's connected to a beautiful text called the Devi Mahatmya, which comes from some of the Indian epics known as Puranas. And in this story, it tells a story of the goddess defeating the demons. All of these things have deeper meaning. You have to look at it deeper than just the external. But there was a crazy buffalo demon who was just destroying everything, Mahishasura. And the goddess came, and eventually she destroyed him. And there's a beautiful chant that I love to sing called the Mahishasura Mardini, which they sing almost every day at my teacher Amma's ashram. And it's long, and so I'm not going to sing it now, but it's really great. And it's basically the story of the goddess defeating the demons. But what it means, what it symbolizes, is the triumph of light over darkness, of that love over ego and selfishness. And so at the end of this process, there's like a realization that happens, because we've gone through all these different stages, and then we wake up with the grace and the support of the Divine Mother, the Divine Feminine. So I wanted to read you something really brief that I read today that I thought was so beautiful. It was something that Amma, my teacher, said. She says, "When we see the underlying oneness in everything, compassion will arise in our hearts. When this feeling of oneness expresses itself, then we will have the conviction that no one should experience sorrow. No one should starve. That awareness of oneness is the Divine Mother." I love that because it's so practical. It's basically saying our awareness of oneness is what makes us take action, to want to be of service, to recognize that everything is united, everything is unified. The realization of oneness from the perspective of the Divine Mother unifies everything and makes us want to love and serve each other, as opposed to the realization of oneness wanting to make us run away to the hills and be superior to others because we're in oneness and everything else is just lowly. That's not the perspective of the Divine Mother. The Divine Mother is immanent in creation and wants to serve and love creation. So it's beautiful, our oneness, our sense of oneness that we wake up to, that we can recognize through our practice, helps us to be better stewards of creation and lovers with one another, lovers of the heart. So I'm going to sing. I want to sing something in honor of the Divine Mother, just to bring in that energy, bring in that presence so that we can feel that. And then we'll move into the next phase of the session. I'm trying to weave some different things in, but I just wanted to offer just that tiny little bit about Navaratri. It's a really wonderful time for spiritual practice, and traditionally people fast, they pray, they dance, they chant, and they do many different things. Each day represents a different goddess and is associated with a different color, a different mantra. I mean, you could really go so deep into it, but it's just an opportunity. We have these windows of opportunity to just pause and reflect and be with ourselves and look at, inquire. Where am I feeling limited? Where am I stopping myself? Where am I stuck? Where am I trapped, with my egoic stuff? Where is that getting me in my life? Look, we can look and then, offer that aspiration to go beyond that, to integrate that to greater wholeness. So the song I'm going to sing I just really love the song. It's really simple. And I learned it from Ido and Joe, who are kirtan singers from Australia. And Joe very sadly passed away a few years ago. But she and her then partner left this beautiful music, and Ido still continues to sing. If you know Nadav on the app, it's his brother. So anyway, this song, and their guru is Sri Shakti Amma, who's a spiritual master from southern India. So anyway, everything like becomes another tangent to something else, so try to stay focused. So this is called Madhuram, and it's so, so beautiful. And it basically is, so Devi is the divine mother. Devi is the goddess, and actually, literally, it means shining one, shining one. And so this song is basically saying Devi, the form of the divine mother, she's like sweet, like honey, madhu. She's like the nectar, the sweetness, her form, you know, her worship, her words, her all of this. So that's what the song is basically saying. And whatever that means to you, I'm offering all of this and like on a buffet, and it's for you to take it and metabolize it. That's the second time I've used that word. It's a very distinct word, so I'm aware I used it already once, but to digest it, to interpret it, or to make it work for you, basically, the way it works for you, because this is your path. So it's not like you have to just take on whatever I'm saying. You can make it yours. You know, what does the divine feminine mean to you? Maybe nothing. Maybe something. Maybe it's very personal. Maybe you have a relationship with the feminine in a particular form. Could be Mother Mary. Could be Kuan Yin. It could be Gaia, Mother Earth. You know, connect to it and make it personal to you. Make it intimate to you. Because that's when it really has a transformative effect. So, Mantoram. There's nothing you need to do while I sing this except just be in your heart, be open and be receptive to whatever, you know, you would like to call into your life and to your heart.
Devi Namah Maturam Devi Rupa Maturam Devi Namah Maturam Devi Rupa
We just call on the presence of the Divine Mother and Mother Earth, all of her different forms, and the qualities of love and compassion, oneness, patience, protection, nurturing, nourishment. The feminine qualities that our world really deeply needs. And we can invite those qualities into our own hearts and become aware of the ways that we may become hardened and push those things away. So I'm going to sing a song now that we've called in this presence of the feminine. And this song is called A Call. A call is a mantra that's used often in the Kundalini yoga tradition, and it means undying or deathless. And this mantra is used often to when someone has passed on. We sing it, we chant it to send that soul to the light, to acknowledge that their true being, their true nature is deathless, is undying, unborn. And that is really the truth for all of us. We don't necessarily realize that, but that is the truth for all of us. And so I think it's a really beautiful practice to sing this song for any of those we have lost. And as we send that with the song, it's like a call saying to go to the light. And this is actually a song that I sang a lot with my friend Charlie that died this week. And he really loved to sing this song, even though it's just so simple. We did this beautiful thing where we would weave our voices together, and he had this gorgeous guitar part that he played for it, and we played it on various occasions for other people who were lost. And I also like to use this song, I guess it's a somewhat unconventional way, but I feel like we go through many different deaths in our life, so to speak. You know, we pass through cross many different thresholds. And there are times when we're moving from one life to another, you know, where we may be moving homes or changing a job or a relationship, you know, it could be so many different things. And sometimes, you know, we walk away, we move away from those things without really acknowledging their blessings or without actually releasing them into the light, so to speak. And I think it's a really beautiful, powerful intention and practice to let whatever needs to go to the light, whatever that means to you, to go. It might be a part of your identity, so to speak. You know, it might be some part of you that is outgrown. It feels like it doesn't serve you anymore. And to that part, we don't have to hate it and push it away and say, I'm done with you, you know, I'm over you, that to any part of ourself. We could actually say to any part of ourself, thank you, I love you, thank you, and I see you, and you've given me so much, you've served me, and now I send you to the light. You know what I mean? It's like a way of just honoring whatever is on our path, seeing the light in that, and not closing our heart down to it. I'm not saying this is easy, but, you know, all of these things are a practice. So I'm going to sing a call. And like I said, it's really simple. And as we chant this, we can imagine, or you can imagine, if there is anybody in your life that needs this chant or this mantra, that you can sing it for them or direct it to them. Or you can use it for anything in your own life that you feel like is a kind of death that you've gone through or you're going through that wants to go to the light. And I'm going to sing this for my friend Charlie, for his journey. for our love to all those who have passed, and send all of these souls to the light. And affirm that we're here for a short time to share our light with one another. And when this sentence is over, Mama says we put a period and then we keep writing. Transitions you may be in. Maybe you're moving from one life to another. One area of your life is changing, or some parts of yourself that were very prominent are no longer serving you anymore. All we can do is just to say thank you to these aspects of our life. Thank you for showing us whatever they needed to show us, sheltering us, for teaching us. Send them to the light. Say thank you. Thank you to an illness maybe we had that no longer is. Send to the light. To a relationship that may have served a really important purpose and no longer is in the same way. Say thank you. Go to the light. To a part of ourselves, a home, a job, concepts of ourself in the world that no longer serve, to the light. hard to sing. The voice doesn't lie, you know. So our voice is so connected to our emotions. So it's hard to sing sometimes when the emotions come, you know. I mean, I can do it. It just doesn't sound so good, you know. I'm kind of all over the place today. Oh, sorry. See, I'm all over the place today. So I wanted to introduce you to my friend Charlie, because I'm not going to get to sing with him again, and I'm not going to be able to share our music with you, but he has some really beautiful songs, and I'm going to sing 2 of them with him, the recordings. And the way he recorded a lot of his music was more traditional call and response kirtan, so there's a space so I can respond to him. And I just thought that would be a really beautiful way to honor him and his beautiful music and to sing with him again. Sorry. So you're gonna have to just bear with me. I love having this happen in front of like 700 people, but it's real life, right? So the first song that I want to sing from Charlie is a song that is to Lakshmi, and I thought it would be appropriate since it's Navaratri, and it's just his beautiful style of kirtan. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha, or Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Swaha. He alternates, and this is just a beautiful mantra to Lakshmi, who is thank you, Priscilla. This song, I feel like I can't read too many of your comments because then I'll just like completely fall apart, and then there will be no more session except me just sitting here like, wow. So I'm trying to hold it together. This song is just beautiful, and like I said, it's to Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, and we are in the phase of Navaratri now, that beginning to honor Lakshmi, and so it feels fitting to sing this song. And she, like I said before, blesses us with virtues that are, the virtues are our biggest wealth, right? It's like you have money, you have this, you have that, it comes and goes. At the end of the day, what does any of it mean? Name, fame, money, all of those things. It's like when we leave this world, it's the love in our hearts, it's the virtues that we've cultivated and the goodness that we've shared with one another, that is what we take with us, you know? And Charlie was a really good man, and he had lots of virtues. So I'm sure he's in a beautiful place, blessing lots of people with his music now. So if you just arrived here and you have no idea like why I'm having this experience, I shared at the beginning of the session that a beloved musical collaborator of mine was tragically killed in an accident, bicycle accident this week. And so I'm just in the process of mourning that what happened to him. And I would also like to just say that he was hit by a 23-year-old girl, and there was no negligence involved, and I would just like to send my love to her. Because I can't imagine what she must be feeling or dealing with. You know, these things happen in life, and they happen, and it could be any of us. And to have that weight on your heart, you know, my heart really goes out to her. And I actually even thought about reaching out to her because I don't know, it's just the whole thing is just heartbreaking. So just send love to her as well. So Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. And so you're going to hear Charlie singing, and then you'll hear me. So I know it's a little bit weird to like play somebody else's song and sing along, but whatever. These are weird times, right? I don't know what anything even what's weird or not anymore. Okay. This is Charlie's music. love singing with him. You can cry too. Sometimes we need to cry, have a grief ritual, because it's not just crying about one thing, it's crying about all of it, you know? Just all of it. We just need to unburden our heart of all of it, everything that we're carrying. Sometimes it takes one thing and then just like the floodgates open, you know? I wanted to read you something. Like I said, I'm all over the place today. It's about grief from this book that I told you about, The Wild Edge of Sorrow, that I mentioned in my circle. I just think this is really poignant and just interesting and true. It's from Frances Weller. It's about, well, I'll just read it. One sec. Thanks for bearing with me here. It is challenging to honor the dissent in a culture that primarily values the us okay. When you go through a major life transition, when you lose someone, or when you get divorced, when you move, when you're changing careers, when you're dealing with an illness, all of these things. It's like we need to be reminded that it's okay to tend to these times as long as we need, as much time as we need. We don't have to rush. I hate the kind of fast food mentality, even around spirituality. It's like just this fast food thing. And it's not like we're rushing to some destination. Actually, from a mystical point of view, we're moving towards a destination we're already standing in. We're not going towards anything we aren't already. We're trying to wake up to the self we already are. It's not like it's somewhere over there. It's already here. We just forgot. So we're trying to remember that. So I see the time is flying. I want to sing one more song with you, for you, with Charlie. Om Mani Padme Hum. It's such a beautiful mantra. And it's a mantra of compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum. And his version is really beautiful. And I feel like compassion is not what it's all about, really, ultimately. It's like to love one another, to suffer with one another. That's what compassion is. Compassion, to suffer with one another, to feel one another. And, that's how we create a beautiful, healthy society, is when we can actually feel one another, see one another, and not just like see our phones, Emojis, like they just don't quite transmit the same feeling of human emotion that we need to connect, and so compassion, may that never die from this world, because that's like the water that keeps this world green, metaphorically, as well as our hearts. And times of grief and loss are opportunities to feel deeper into that compassion, and like that Buddhist story that I shared at the beginning, Kisa Gotami, who realized that the impermanent nature of human life is universal. We're all in the same situation. So let's be kind to one another, let's treat one another and ourselves with respect, because we have such a finite time in this precious human birth. So Om Mani Padme Hum. I'm going to sing with Charlie again. And if anyone comes into the session and they don't know what's going on, any of you can tell them. That's the tricky thing with these sessions, is that it's wonderful that anybody can drop in at any moment, but sometimes when a person comes like at the very end, they have no context for what's happened before. Which, it's okay. It's just sometimes it can be a little confusing, probably, for people who just drop in. So if you just arrived, well, you're welcome. I'm so happy you're here. And I'm singing songs with a very beloved friend of mine who passed away this past week, to honor him and to share his music with the world. So you can sing too. Om Mani Padme Hum. Beautiful Tibetan mantra, a Buddhist mantra that honors that jewel within our own heart, that jewel of compassion. Sorry, I'm emotional singing.
Om
Om Mani Padme
Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme
Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme
Mani Padme
Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme
Thank you to my friend Charlie. I'm so grateful to my friend Charlie for believing in my music and supporting me, playing with me for so many years, and bringing joy to so many people through the music. I wish him all the love and blessings on his journey, and blessings and peace to his family and his children, and his grandchildren, and his mother who survives him. May we use these opportunities to remember the purpose of our life, what really matters, and stop focusing on BS and things that don't mean anything, the petty things. Let's focus on what really, really does matter, which is love and compassion, understanding, inquiry, respect for ourselves and for this earth, and awareness of our common humanity. We're all in the same situation here. Let's fill our hearts with love. Fill our hearts with gratitude and appreciation for this life. We're all here now. And it's wonderful and special that we can share part of our time together on this earth with one another here. really thank you so much for being with me and for all the love that you share with me, the presence and the support and your interest in these practices and in this path of the heart that we're all on. Thank you. Sending so much love and peace to all of you. And let's offer a dedication of the merit of our practice time today, that it may be of benefit to all beings everywhere. This is a Buddhist tradition. Am I chanting Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which means may all beings everywhere be peaceful and happy, 9 times. And we send that prayer throughout the world, including to ourselves. Thank you so much. So much love to you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for all of your donations. Thank you for your breath, Stark. I really, really appreciate you. And it's so vulnerable to share this much, share all of this raw emotion with so many people, but that's what it is, right? I mean, this is the human journey. If I just came here with like no wrinkles in my clothes, it's not relatable, metaphorically. I tend to have wrinkles in my clothes. Thank you so much. I think I can't remember if I did 8 or 9 loka, but when I finished, I thought maybe I missed one. So just in case, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, just an extra one. So grateful to you. And my next session is actually not until October 31st. I might put one in between, just depending on where things are at. My next session is on spiritual bypassing, a session I've been wanting to do for a very long time. In fact, it's really probably more of a series than a session, but I think it's a really, really important subject. And that word, spiritual bypassing, has kind of become, like a buzzword a little bit. When I first learned that word, that phrase, I think I was 22 or 23. It was in a book called The Tortoise Psychology of Awakening, which is a great book by John Wellwood, a Buddhist psychotherapist who is no longer with us, but left a really beautiful, important body of work. He coined the term spiritual bypassing. And, basically, there's a lot of ways to think about it, but it's essentially the idea or the premise that we use spirituality as a way of avoiding our own interpersonal issues or real life issues, social issues, and how spirituality can kind of become like a defense. There's so much more to say about it, but I think it's a really important subject. And the essence of it, I think, is really that our spiritual journey really should not make us better than other people. It should make us better for other people. And we start to get to a place where we feel like I'm better than because I'm doing this or that, then something's a little off, you know? So we have to check ourselves. And so it's good to check ourselves in an atmosphere of love. We don't grow through shame, we grow through love. So through love, we can look at the subject together and just see, you know, what's happening. Is this happening within myself? I certainly have had a lot of experience with this. I've witnessed it and I've experienced it within my own self. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And I'm going to do another session on fear to trust, looking at trust. It will be after that one. So anyway, yeah, The Wild Edge of Sorrow is really beautiful, really, really beautiful book. He's a wonderful writer, and I think you'll really like it. So thank you again so much, and thank you for all of the love you've shared with me, for my friend Charlie, and his memorial is tomorrow, so that will be helpful just to connect with others that knew him and, you know, just different phases of the healing process, the grieving process. So thanks again for being here and bearing witness and letting me be my human self. And I'll see you next time, whenever that is. Any of you are welcome to join my circle, Friends of Carrie. You can just look it up. And I want to give a deep thanks to the admins in my circle who just are so present and offer meditations all throughout the day and night and sharing, just creating this space for everybody to come and meditate together at different times of day and different time zones. And to everybody who's in the circle, whether people post or not, I'm just very appreciative of the Sangha that is being created there. Everybody, you know, we're all equal in the circle, sharing the wisdom of our hearts and just sharing our life experience together. So it's a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much. Could I read the poem? Which poem? Oh, you mean the quote that I read, the passage that I read? Is that, yes, the circle is a part of Insight Timer. Oh, you didn't hear any of it? Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yes, I'll read it. I'm sorry. I had no idea. It's not really a poem. It's more just a kind of a commentary about how we sort of avoid going into these depths, these descents. I'll read it. So this is from that book. It is challenging to honor the descent in a culture that primarily values the ascent. We like things rising, stock markets, the GDP, profit margins. We get anxious when things go down. Even within psychology, there is a premise that's biased toward improvement, always getting better, rising above our troubles. We hold dear concepts like progress and integration. These are fine in and of themselves, but it's not the way psyche works. Psyche, we must remember, was shaped by and is rooted in the foundations of nature. As such, psyche also experiences times of decay and death, of stopping, regression, and being still. Much happens in these times that deepen the soul. When all we are shown is the imagery of ascent, we're left to interpret the times of descent as pathological. We feel that we're somehow failing. As poet and author Robert Bly rightly noted, how can we get a look at the cinders side of things when the society is determined to create a world of shopping malls and entertainment complexes in which we are made to believe that there is no death, disfigurement, illness, insanity, or misery? Disneyland means no ashes. So that was it. And I really like that because it's basically saying, you know, let's not always try to improve upon ourselves or go to what he's saying, the ascent, but to honor the times that we descend, that we're in grief, that we're in times of transition, that you know, we're letting go, going through a process. We have to honor those times and not always think that it's better somehow to go beyond them or be above them. You know, this is just the way of nature. I think is such a great teacher. That's why the moon is full and then it goes dark, and both cycles are really important. and the same is true for our lives. So highly recommend that book. I think it's wonderful. Thank you so, so much. Okay, I'll see. I've overstayed my welcome here. Lots of love.